Did you know that if you're holding $20 dollars in cash right now, your bank is quietly rooting against you? Sounds shocking, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth. The very system we trust to keep our money safe, our banks, actually don't want you to keep large amounts of cash. And Peter Lynch, the legendary investor who ran Fidelity's Magellan Fund to extraordinary returns, understood why this is not just about money. It's about control, economics, and psychology. Think about it. $20. That's not a trivial sum. For many, it's a year's rent, tuition, or even the seed of financial freedom. Yet when you walk into a bank and ask to deposit or withdraw such an amount, they don't cheer, they calculate, they analyze, and often they hesitate. Why? Because cash is unproductive capital in their eyes. And this is where most people miss the subtle but powerful truth. Banks make money when you spend, borrow, or invest your money in ways that benefit them, not when it just sits quietly in your account. Let's pause for a moment. Imagine your $20 sitting in a savings account that pays 5% interest. In a year, you earn. Let's calculate that. 5% of $20 is $100. That's right. $100 for keeping your hard-earned money in a supposedly safe place. Meanwhile, the bank can lend your money at 6 to 10% interest to someone else and make a profit of $1, $200 to $2,000 a year. They are literally making hundreds of times more money than you on the same cash that's sitting idle in your account. Do you feel a little uncomfortable yet? That's exactly the point. This is not just math. It's psychology. And Peter Lynch would say this is a system where understanding the incentives is critical. We're trained to think the bank is safe, so I'll just leave my money there. But safety has a hidden cost, your financial opportunity. Every day your money sits in a low-interest account is a day it's being silently drained by inflation, opportunity cost, and yes, the invisible margin that banks pocket from your inactivity. Here's the kicker. It's not illegal. It's not even sneaky. It's smart from the bank's perspective. You holding cash is a liability. They'd much rather see you investing, spending, or borrowing anything that generates velocity in the financial system. In fact, if everyone suddenly decided to keep their money in cash, the financial system would grind to a halt. Banks know this, and that's why Lynch always emphasized understanding how the system works, not just how it appears. Now, let's get even more provocative. Banks and the system they operate in benefit when your money is invisible to you. Every overdraft fee, credit card interest, or poor investment decision you make fuels their machine. And here's the uncomfortable truth that most people ignore. Keeping your money idle in cash makes you financially weaker, not stronger. You may feel secure, but security without strategy is just a slow drift toward mediocrity. This is where the first psychological twist comes in. Humans are wired to fear loss more than they crave gain. That's why $20,000 in cash feels safe compared to investing in stocks, real estate, or even starting a side business. But Lynch would argue that this very fear, the fear of loss, keeps you from building real wealth. By overvaluing safety and undervaluing opportunity, we play right into the hands of banks and the financial system. So if you've ever thought, I'll just keep my savings under my mattress or in a bank and everything will be fine, it's time to challenge that assumption, because the financial world isn't neutral. Every dollar sitting idle is a dollar not working for you. And banks don't want you realizing that. They'd prefer if you stayed comfortable, predictable, and financially passive. Here's a principle that Peter Lynch loved to highlight. The best way to succeed is to understand the incentives behind the system. Banks are not your friends. They are intermediaries, and intermediaries profit when you don't think critically about your cash. That's why today in this video, we're going to explore the hidden mechanics of cash, the psychology that keeps people stuck, and practical strategies to reclaim control over your money. Before we dive deep, here's a quick favor. If you want to master these insights and make smarter financial decisions, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I promise by the end of this video, your perspective on cash, banks, and wealth will never be the same. Now, buckle up, because the $20,000 sitting in your bank account might just be your wake-up call. And by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why banks don't want you holding cash, but also how to turn that money into a tool that works for you, not the system. All right, now that we've shaken up the idea of safety, let's get clear on the core problem. Why holding $20, or really any significant amount of cash is quietly dangerous for your financial future? At first glance, cash feels secure. You can touch it, you can deposit it, you can even withdraw it in an emergency. But here's the harsh arithmetic. Keeping money in cash doesn't preserve your wealth. It erodes it over time. Let's do some simple math. Suppose you have $20, in a savings account earning 0. 5% interest. In 1 year, you make $100. Meanwhile, inflation, the general rise of prices, hovers around 3% per year. That same $20 now has the purchasing power of $19,400. Even worse, let's say the bank sneaks in a $25 maintenance fee in a year. Your $20,000 now buys even less than before. In short, you're losing money every single day you sit on cash. And it's not dramatic or obvious, it's subtle, creeping, silent. Most people don't notice this because small losses don't feel painful immediately. By the time they realize it, years of inaction have quietly stolen tens of thousands of dollars from their future. Now let's talk about opportunity cost. Imagine instead of sitting in a low-interest account, you invested that $20 in a diversified portfolio, earning an average of 7% per year. After 1 year, you'd have $21,400. That's $1,400 more in just 12 months, just because you chose to make your money work. Over a decade, that difference compounds dramatically, and suddenly your cash isn't just sitting, it's growing exponentially. But banks don't highlight this. In fact, they benefit from your inaction. Why? Because every dollar you don't invest or spend is a dollar they must manage but can't profit from as much. Banks thrive on movement, loans, credit, and investments that carry interest or fees. Idle cash is not their ideal situation. Let's make it relatable. Think about someone who leaves $100 in a wallet under their bed. They feel secure, right? But every year, the real value of that $100 declines because prices rise. Coffee costs more, groceries cost more, rent costs more. That $100 buys less each year. This is exactly what happens at scale with $20,000 in a bank account. And most people never connect the dots. And there's another layer, psychological friction. When money sits in cash, people tend to avoid thinking strategically about it. They feel safe, so they don't plan investments, side hustles, or business opportunities. This false security feeds financial inertia. Meanwhile, inflation and lost opportunities quietly chip away at the wealth they could have built. Here's where the system gets clever. Banks provide an illusion of safety with FDIC insurance and secure accounts. You think, I'm insured up to $250 US, so I'm fine. But FDIC insurance doesn't grow your money. It just guarantees you don't lose it entirely if the bank fails. The real loss is the growth you never captured. And let's not forget about liquidity traps. Many people believe cash is instantly usable in emergencies. True, but emergencies often cost more than expected. Sudden expenses like medical bills, urgent home repairs, or opportunities like investing in a booming market require more than just cash. They require cash that has been actively working for you. Sitting idle gives a false sense of readiness, but leaves you financially underpowered. So to summarize the problem: 1. Inflation slowly erodes the value of cash. $20 today buys less tomorrow. 2. Interest rates are tiny compared to potential growth. Your bank's safety comes at the cost of opportunity. 3. Opportunity cost compounds over time. Every year your cash sits idle, you lose potential wealth growth. 4. Psychological inertia keeps people passive. Feeling safe prevents action, and inaction is expensive. 5. Banks profit when your money is active in their system, but idle cash doesn't help you. This is why Peter Lynch often emphasized thinking about long-term value creation. The problem isn't that banks are evil. It's that the system is designed around incentives that may not align with yours. Your cash is a tool. How you use it or don't determines whether you get stronger financially or weaker. And here's the uncomfortable truth that most people ignore. Even if you earn $20 a year, save 20%, and put $4,400 in cash, that cash alone won't make you wealthy. It will preserve a sense of security, but slowly steal your potential financial power. Lynch would say this is why people feel they're doing the right thing, yet never seem to get ahead. We'll explore why human psychology makes this problem even worse, and why understanding your biases is the first step to regaining control over your money. But before that, ask yourself, are you holding cash because it's truly safe or because it's easy and familiar? The difference is the invisible line between financial stagnation and financial freedom. Now that we understand the problem with holding $20 in cash, let's uncover the hidden culprit behind it: human psychology. Because here's the thing, most people aren't losing money purely because of math or banks. They're losing it because of the way they think. Peter Lynch, throughout his career, emphasized understanding investor behavior and decision-making. And when it comes to cash, several psychological traps keep people financially stagnant. 1. Loss aversion. This is the big one. Humans hate losses more than they love gains. Imagine someone offers you a 50-50 chance. Either win $1 or lose $500. Most people decline even though the expected value is positive. That fear of losing, even temporarily, is what keeps $20 in the low-interest account. People fear the stock market crashing or a bad investment, so they default to the safe cash. But here's the twist. By avoiding risk, they are taking the biggest risk of all, the slow erosion of wealth due to inflation and missed opportunities. Holding cash feels safe, but it's psychologically comforting at the cost of real financial growth. 2. Status quo bias. Humans prefer things to stay the same. We overvalue what we already have and resist change. That's why so many people stick to traditional savings accounts even when they know better alternatives exist. Switching to stocks, ETFs, or investing feels complicated, so the status quo wins and the bank quietly benefits. Lynch would recognize this as inertia. It's not laziness. It's your brain's way of avoiding uncertainty. But the consequence, your money stagnates. 3. Hyperbolic discounting. We overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue long-term benefits. $20. Using dollars and cash is tangible today. Investments, growth, or business opportunities are abstract and future-oriented. That's why people choose cash, even if investing could double that money in 10 years. Think of it like this. You'd rather have immediate comfort today than invest in your future for 10 years. The principle is the same with money. Your brain prioritizes immediate safety over delayed financial power. 4. Social proof and herd mentality. We look to others for cues on what's safe. If most of your peers leave money in savings accounts, you're likely to do the same, even if it's not optimal. Banks and financial institutions exploit this by marketing safety and FDIC protection, making cash seem like the obvious choice. But following the crowd is a trap. Wealth is often created by going against the grain, by understanding incentives, and by taking calculated risks. 5. Overconfidence and misjudgment. Here's a subtle but deadly bias. Some people think they are savvy enough to time the market or know when to invest later, so they hold cash now. Lynch called this a dangerous trap. Waiting for the perfect moment rarely works, and meanwhile, inflation silently reduces your wealth. 6. The illusion of control. Humans love to feel in control. Holding cash gives the illusion that we can instantly respond to emergencies or opportunities, but control is a feeling, not a financial strategy. Real control comes from allocating money strategically, diversifying and creating systems that grow wealth regardless of short-term volatility. Understanding the incentives. Peter Lynch often emphasized understanding the system. For cash holders, two principles are especially relevant. Incentives. Banks benefit when your cash works for them. Your inertia is their opportunity cost. Every day you do nothing, you're losing potential wealth. When you combine these, the psychology becomes clear. Your brain wants safety, your environment reinforces it, and the financial system quietly benefits. This is a perfect storm for keeping you stuck. Behavioral fixes. The good news, once you recognize these biases, you can design strategies to counter them. 1. Automate investments. Reduce the friction of decision-making by setting up automatic contributions to stocks, ETFs, or retirement accounts. Reframe risk. Instead of asking, "Will I lose money?" ask, "Will I lose financial power by doing nothing?" 3. Time block your financial decisions. Make investment choices once a month or quarter instead of daily. This combats hyperbolic discounting. 4. Track opportunity cost. Keep a visual chart showing cash growth versus potential investment growth. Numbers have a way of defeating fear. Consider Sarah, a young professional in her 20s. She kept $25, there was zero, in a savings account, because she didn't want to risk losing it. Over 10 years, inflation ate away nearly $8,000 of her purchasing power. Meanwhile, her friend Alex invested the same amount in an index fund and ended up with over $45,000. The difference wasn't luck, it was psychology. Sarah let fear and habit control her decisions. Alex recognized his biases and acted strategically. So, here's the takeaway. The biggest threat to your $20 isn't the bank, inflation, or a market crash. It's your mind. Your natural biases make cash feel safe, but they silently erode your wealth, keep you stuck, and reinforce a system designed to profit from your inaction. Ask yourself these questions. Am I holding cash because it's truly the best choice, or because it feels safe? How much potential wealth am I silently sacrificing by doing nothing? Which biases, fear, inertia, or social proof are controlling my financial decisions? Understanding your psychology is the first step toward taking control. In the next section, we'll move from understanding the problem to practical solutions, showing how to make your money work for you instead of against you. Now that we've uncovered the problem and the psychology behind why holding cash keeps you stuck, it's time for the good part: solutions. Peter Lynch didn't just identify problems. He looked for rational, long-term strategies that put incentives on your side. Today, we'll break it down step by step so your $20, or any amount of cash stops being a liability and starts becoming a wealth-building tool. Here's the framework I want you to remember: diversify, automate, and optimize. 1. Diversify your assets. The first principle is simple. Don't let all your money sit in cash. Cash should be a tool for liquidity, not a wealth-building strategy. Consider this allocation: emergency cash fund, 3 to 6 months of living expenses safely stored. Investable cash, any amount above your emergency fund, should be allocated to growth assets. Now, growth assets don't just mean stocks. Lynch loved rational diversification, which could include index funds and ETFs. Historically, broad stock indices like the S&P 500 return around 7 to 10% annually after inflation. Your money compounds, working while you sleep. Dividend stocks provide cash flow while still offering growth potential. Real estate offers both income, rent, and appreciation potential and can hedge against inflation. Small businesses, side hustles, even a small venture can multiply wealth faster than cash or savings accounts. The key is not chasing every hot investment, but putting money to work in rational, historically reliable vehicles. Diversification reduces risk and ensures your money grows steadily instead of sitting idle. 2. Automate the process. One of the biggest psychological traps is human hesitation. We overthink, procrastinate, and let fear dictate inaction. The solution? Automation. Set up automatic transfers from your checking to investment accounts each month. Automate contributions to retirement accounts, ETFs, or index funds. Use robo-advisors if needed. They follow a disciplined investment strategy and remove emotion from the process. Automation solves two problems. It forces consistency and reduces the influence of fear, which is exactly what keeps most people stuck. As Lynch demonstrated, the key to success is often staying disciplined while the world acts emotionally. 3. Optimize your financial tools. Not all cash or investments are created equal. Banks and financial products are designed with their interests in mind. Optimization means actively choosing tools that maximize returns and minimize costs. Avoid low-interest savings accounts. Look for high-yield accounts or money market funds for emergency cash. Minimize fees. Investment fees compound over time and silently erode wealth. Even a 1% annual fee on $20 is $200 per year of lost opportunity. Leverage tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks, IRAs, or Roth IRAs, which grow faster thanks to deferred or tax-free growth. Optimizing is about making every dollar count instead of letting inertia and hidden costs silently steal your wealth. 4. Reframe risk. Many people hold cash because they fear loss. Lynch would argue that the real risk is doing nothing. To apply this, shift your mindset. Ask, what am I losing by keeping cash idle? Use a long-term horizon. Short-term market volatility isn't wealth destruction. Inaction is. Calculate opportunity costs visually. Track what your cash could have earned if invested. Risk is only dangerous if it's unmanaged. With diversified assets, consistent contributions, and smart planning, risk becomes your ally rather than your enemy. 5. Mental accounting discipline. Finally, implement mental frameworks. Separate money by purpose, emergency, investing, lifestyle. This reduces the temptation to dip into growth funds for immediate satisfaction. Track progress regularly. Check investments to see how your money grows over time. Watching compounding in action motivates action. Focus on long-term compounding. Lynch often said the big money is not in the buying and selling, but in patient holding of quality investments. Actionable checklist. Let's summarize the actionable steps. Keep only 3 to 6 months of cash for emergencies. 2. Allocate the rest into diversified growth assets. 3. Automate contributions to investments. 4. Optimize accounts and reduce hidden fees. 5. Reframe risk as opportunity, not fear. Track and separate money by purpose. Commit to long-term compounding rather than short-term gains. Think of cash as a car engine. Idle in neutral, it's useless. Put it in gear, give it fuel, and suddenly it moves you forward. That's exactly what these strategies do. They put your money in gear, turning passive cash into active wealth. All right, by now we understand the problem, the psychology, and the strategies to fix it. But nothing sticks like a story. Let's look at real-life examples that show why cash stagnates wealth and why acting strategically pays off. 1. Historical case, the lost power of cash during inflation. Let's travel back to the 1970s in the United States. Inflation was soaring, over 13% at its peak in 1980. People who kept cash in savings accounts watched their purchasing power plummet. Imagine holding $20, or zero in a standard savings account with interest rates around 5% if you were lucky, but inflation at 13%, your money was losing 8% of real value each year. 10 years later, $20, $12 would feel more like $11 in real terms. Meanwhile, those who invested in stocks or real estate not only preserved wealth, but grew it. The S&P 500, despite volatility, returned roughly 17% annually in the late 70s and 80s. This shows the crucial difference between cash and growth assets. Even when the system is unstable, money in motion compounds. 2. Personal example, Sarah versus Alex. Illustrative story. Remember Sarah and Alex from the last section? Let's expand their story for more impact. Sarah held $25 in a savings account. Over 10 years, inflation and low interest reduced her purchasing power by nearly $1. She felt safe but didn't grow her wealth. Alex took the same $25, invested in a diversified index fund, and added $200 monthly. Over the same period, his account grew to over $45. The lesson: the difference wasn't luck, it was behavior, discipline, and overcoming psychological biases. Sarah's fear controlled her. Alex used rational thinking, automated, diversified, and let compounding work. 3. Business case: Peter Lynch and Fidelity Magellan. Peter Lynch's own investing philosophy offers an incredible example. Lynch focused on understanding businesses and investing for the long term. He avoided chasing short-term excitement and focused on companies with consistent value. His cash wasn't idle. It was strategically deployed when opportunities arose. For instance, successful fund managers historically hold cash as a tool, waiting for undervalued opportunities during crises. Unlike a regular savings account, this cash was dynamic, ready to be used at the perfect moment for strong returns. Key takeaway: cash isn't inherently bad. It's the use of cash that matters. Passive cash loses, strategic cash wins. 4. Real estate case studies: small investments, big gains. Let's take an example from real estate. Consider someone who buys a small rental property for $100,000 using a mix of cash and financing. They use $20,000 as a down payment, the exact amount most people would hold. Cash-only approach: $20,000 sits in the bank for 10 years. Inflation erodes its value. Leveraged investment: $20,000 becomes a down payment. The property appreciates and rental income generates cash flow. After 10 years, the $20,000 investment could be worth $50,000, $60,000, or more, depending on location. This illustrates leverage, strategic deployment, and compounding concepts Peter Lynch championed. Even a relatively small amount of cash used intelligently beats sitting idle. 5. Behavioral story: overcoming fear. Finally, here's a behavioral example. Tom, a young professional, always feared the stock market. He kept $50 in cash for emergencies. One day, he learned about dollar cost averaging, investing a fixed amount regularly regardless of market swings. Step 1. He moved $30 into an index fund, leaving $20,000 as an emergency fund. Step 2. Automated $500 monthly contributions. Result: within 7 years, Tom's investments grew over 50% while inflation had eroded the cash he kept idle. This shows the power of small, consistent steps to overcome fear and human biases. Psychological barriers often prevent wealth accumulation, but awareness plus action equals results. Key lessons from stories. 1. Cash loses value over time, especially during inflation or low interest periods. 2. Strategically deployed cash compounds wealth via investments, real estate, or business opportunities. 3. Behavior determines outcomes, not luck. Recognizing biases like fear and inertia is crucial. 4. Small actions consistently applied, like automation and diversification, can turn modest cash into significant wealth over a decade. 5. Opportunity matters more than perfect timing. Misconception: if I save enough cash, I'll be wealthy. Reality: cash alone doesn't build wealth. It preserves purchasing power but doesn't create it. True wealth grows through investments, business, or other productive assets. Example: keeping $20,000 in a savings account for 20 years might still leave you behind financially, compared to someone who invested a smaller amount wisely. Lynch's principle: it's not about how much you save, but how wisely you allocate what you save. Mistake: emotional decisions during crisis. Crises trigger fear, stock market crashes, inflation spikes, or economic downturns. Many people pull money out of investments and hoard cash. Problem: selling during crisis locks in losses and prevents compounding. Solution: create a strategic, diversified plan and stick to it. Emotional decisions destroy wealth. Discipline and systems build it. Quick summary of common misconceptions. Misconception and mistake: cash is safe. Reality fix: inflation and opportunity cost reduce value. Invest strategically. I can time the market. Reality: consistency beats guessing. Long-term compounding wins. Keep minimal cash for emergencies. Invest the rest. Fees don't matter. Reality: small fees compound over time. Always optimize accounts. All cash is interchangeable. Reality: separate emergency investment and opportunity funds. Saving alone builds wealth. Reality: allocation and compounding are key. Reacting emotionally in crisis. Reality: stick to disciplined strategy. Avoid panic selling. Think of cash like water in a bucket with holes. If you just store it passively, leaks, inflation, fees, opportunity costs, slowly drain it. Plugging some holes with smart strategies, diversification, automation, and discipline keeps the bucket full and even grows your water through productive channels. These mistakes are common, but completely avoidable. The reason most people stay stuck isn't because they're lazy or unlucky. It's because they follow intuition, not strategy. Understanding these traps is a critical step to taking control and growing your financial power. Exactly the kind of insight Peter Lynch champions. Now it's time to take all the insights we've explored, from why cash stagnates to the psychology behind it and the strategies to overcome it and turn them into action. This is where the rubber meets the road. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't act, your $20 wasn't a dollars will quietly lose power while others' money grows. Here's a practical step-by-step framework you can start using today. Think of it as your personal blueprint to make cash work for you. Step 1. Audit your cash. Before anything else, know exactly how much cash you have, where it is, and what it's doing. Ask yourself, how much of my money is sitting idle? How much is earning interest? And how much is being eaten by inflation or fees? Do I really need all of this cash? Or can some of it be deployed for growth? Write it down. Seeing numbers visually is powerful. It often motivates people to take action. Step 2. Segment your money. Lynch emphasized clarity in allocation. Don't treat all cash the same. Create clear categories. Emergency fund 3 to 6 months of essential expenses, safely accessible. Investment fund, money working for you in index funds, ETFs, stocks, or real estate. Opportunity fund, cash reserve for strategic opportunities like business ventures, property deals, or sudden investments. Segmentation reduces emotional mistakes, ensures liquidity, and lets each dollar fulfill a purpose. Step 3. Automate your wealth building. Fear and procrastination are natural. Remove them by automating your finances. Set up automatic transfers to investment accounts each month. Schedule contributions to retirement accounts like 401ks, IRAs, or Roth IRAs. Use automatic reinvestment of dividends to maximize compounding. Automation prevents hesitation, keeps you disciplined, and ensures your money works while you sleep. Step 4. Reframe risk and reward. Most people fear investing because they focus on potential losses. Lynch flips the script. Inaction is the real risk. Ask yourself, what am I losing by keeping $20 idle? How much could this money grow if I committed to a diversified strategy over 5, 10, or 20 years? Write down the numbers. Seeing lost opportunity in black and white is a powerful motivator. Step 5. Track your progress and reflect. Action isn't just about moving money, it's about learning and improving. Track monthly growth of investments versus idle cash. Reflect quarterly. Are you letting fear control decisions? Are you procrastinating? Ask, am I diversifying enough? Am I paying unnecessary fees? Lynch always emphasized the power of learning from results. Your future decisions improve when you observe the results of past ones. Step 6. Ask the right questions daily. Self-reflection keeps you honest and proactive. Use these questions as a mental checklist. Am I letting fear or habit dictate how I handle money? Which part of my cash is idle? And how can I make it work? Have I automated and diversified enough to grow wealth safely? What opportunities am I missing by overvaluing short-term comfort? Am I tracking my financial progress or just hoping it works out? Even pausing for a few minutes to answer these questions can reshape behavior and prevent stagnation. Step 7. Commit to long-term discipline. Remember, wealth isn't built overnight. The key is consistent action and patience. Make a commitment to invest regularly. Avoid reacting emotionally to short-term market fluctuations. Keep your emergency funds separate so you can take calculated risks confidently. Lynch often demonstrated that success comes from staying rational while others act emotionally. Discipline is your greatest ally. Visual metaphor. Think of your $20 like planting a tree. Cash in a bank, it's a seed left on a shelf. It won't grow. Cash invested strategically, it's a seed in fertile soil watered consistently. It grows into a tree that produces fruit year after year. Your job is to plant, nurture, and protect your financial tree, and the steps above are your tools. Here's your challenge. Take out a pen, write down your current cash situation, and ask yourself, am I using my money to build power or simply store comfort? Which psychological traps are holding me back? Which step will I take today to start growing my wealth? If you start today, even small changes compound into massive results over time. Remember, knowledge is nothing without action, and action transforms your $20 from a silent liability into a powerful wealth-building tool. Before we move to the final section, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next strategies that could change how you handle money forever. Congratulations! If you've stayed with me this far, you now understand the uncomfortable truth Peter Lynch understood. Banks don't want you holding $20 in cash strategically, and the system combined with our own psychology quietly works against idle money. But awareness alone isn't enough. You now have the tools, strategies, and mindset to turn that $20 into a wealth-building machine. Let's take a moment to tie everything together. 1. The big picture. The problem holding cash feels safe, but inflation, lost opportunity, and human psychology silently erode its value. The psychology, fear, loss aversion, hyperbolic discounting, and status quo bias keep people passive. The solution: diversify, automate, optimize, and commit to long-term discipline. The proof? Historical examples, personal stories, and Lynch's own strategies show that active strategic deployment of money beats passive cash. The traps, mistakes like overvaluing safety, timing the market, ignoring fees, or mixing cash purposes will keep you stuck unless avoided. The action plan: audit, segment, automate, reframe risk, track, reflect, and stay disciplined. Everything we discussed builds a single principle: money grows when it works for you, not when you hoard it. 2. A powerful metaphor. Think of your $20 as a river. Left stagnant in a pond, it becomes murky, loses power, and stagnates. When channeled through turbines, strategic investments, businesses, and growth opportunities, it creates energy, movement, and wealth. Your job is to turn that river into productive flow, to let your money work harder than you could with manual effort alone. Idle cash is safety, yes, but productive cash is power. 3. The final call to action. Here's what I want you to do today, not tomorrow. Audit your current cash holdings and see how much is sitting idle. Decide which portion is truly for emergencies and which can be invested or leveraged. Pick one actionable strategy from this video: automate contributions, invest in an index fund, or start a small business, and commit to it this week. Set a recurring reflection session monthly or quarterly to review your progress. Track opportunity cost and adjust. Remember, the fastest way to financial freedom isn't earning more. It's making what you already have work smarter. Even $20 or $1 deployed wisely can be the seed of real wealth. 4. Thought-provoking reflection. Ask yourself, am I still holding cash out of fear or habit? How long have I let psychology dictate my financial decisions? What will my $20 be doing 5 years from now, sitting idle or growing into something much bigger? Take a moment to visualize it. The choices you make today compound exponentially, just like money. Every day you wait to act is a day lost not just for your wealth, but for the freedom and opportunities that money can create. 5. The Peter Lynch mindset. Lynch teaches that wealth is built by rational thinking, disciplined action, and understanding incentives. Don't let the system or your own biases quietly control your future. Banks profit from certain behaviors. You need to act in your own interest. The market rewards those who act rationally, invest consistently, and let compounding do the work. Fear and inertia are the silent enemies of wealth. Recognize them, act anyway, and let your money flow. 6. Final words and channel reminder. If there's one takeaway from this video, let it be this: cash is only valuable when it works for you, not when you simply hold it. Your $20 is more than money. It's potential, it's a tool. It can be the engine of your financial growth or a silent liability if left idle. The difference is action. And if you want more insights like this, practical strategies that help you escape financial traps and grow real wealth, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. This is where we take complex financial concepts and make them actionable for real life, so you don't just learn, you transform. Picture this. 2 paths diverge from a single $20. One path. The cash stays in a bank, safe but slowly losing power. Other path. The cash is invested, diversified, and automated. Over years it grows into freedom, security, and wealth. Which path will you choose? The power is in your hands, and it starts today.